Great. We are also live on YouTube. Yes, great. Welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining. I hope you're doing well and preparing fantastically for the interviews that are coming up. We had discussed a couple of things yesterday. I always say this: commit your attention to where you are right now. There is no point in doing something else, watching reels, doing some third party things, which may not be. I mean, which is a waste of your time if you're sitting here, right? And if you want to chill right now, then this is not where you should be. So I mean, either you can do what you want to do, or you can be here, right? So commit your attention to this session, switch on your videos. It will be wonderful. It is anyways a delight to host you all, gentlemen and ladies, right? So it's my pleasure. And just and as we had discussed yesterday, some basic things that you can start doing for your interview preparation is the first thing is that you can start preparing on basic HR questions. You can start with reading, making yourself aware about what is going around in the industry, in the field of finance, in general, whatever is happening in the country. That is the first thing that you can do, right? With that in mind, let's start. Let's I'll introduce you to our mentor. She's Shreya Bajpai. She's been associated with us for a very long time now, and yeah, she's also a chartered accountant, and she's currently working at Zomato. Prior to this, she was working with Udan. So she has a fantastic startup experience also in the field of finance, fp&a, right? So all your questions you can direct towards her. How the session will flow is that first we'll have a mock interview today, as we had yesterday also. There are a couple of things which I want you to do, right? As we did yesterday, take a pen and paper. Only one person can be the interviewee, right? So, but everybody can learn from this mock session. So please take a pen and paper, write down things that were done good, things that could have been improved by the interviewee. This will be extremely helpful for you going forward. Please take a pen and paper and be attentive as much as you can. If possible, try to think about the answers to the questions that are being asked to the interviewee, right? So you can do that also in side by side. This will also help you prepare. I mean, you'll also be aware about what type of questions are asked, right? So let us give a round of applause for Shreya. Out of her hectic schedule, like just she mentioned, out of her hectic schedule, she's given us time, which is I mean, of course, we can't be more thankful to her. Thank you, Shreya, for joining.
You so much.
The
Thanks,
flow of the
Umang.
session, yeah. So the flow of the session will be like we'll pick up one person for the mock interview
Mm-hmm.
for fp&a profile, and then after you're done scanning through the resume, we can start with a mock interview, and after that we'll have a quick feedback on that, right? We'll only be able to take one mock interview today because of the paucity of time, right? So anybody who's interested in giving an fp&a interview, we'll only take people who are connected from laptop and do not have internet connectivity issues. And okay, there are a couple of people.
So,
uh,
Umang, just a question I had.
yeah.
Is it possible that I can, there are so many people volunteering for an interview. So, can I pick question wise? Maybe one question somebody could answer, or we have to just pick one person and direct all the questions to them.
Right. So it's better that we stick to one person, right? Because the whole
Okay,
flow of so we want this to be a immersive experience for people. Like, matlab,
makes
it'll be a
sense.
whole mock interview for the same person, right? So the articles of experience for the same person, questions, and the whole trajectory of that same person will be discussed.
Got it. Got it. ठीक है.
Yeah. So Shreya, you want to pick anybody? I mean, it's up to you.
So, before we start, firstly, I am really thrilled, like all my tiredness of the day. So what happened today was that we had a workshop from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. at Zomato, and I was just driving like I was like, I have to reach. I have told Umang 9:15. I have to reach somehow, but I'm really thrilled and excited, and all my tiredness has gone after seeing so excited faces and like 204 participants at 9:30. It's like kudos to you guys, and
Wonderful.
congratulations to all of you for achieving this milestone. um, just one suggestion before I head for the interview is that like what we I am also learning in my professional career is that we started accountants are very hardworking. but we don't know how to market ourselves. हमें अपने आप को बेचना नहीं आता है कि हमें क्या क्या आता है, हमें वो नहीं पता है. So that's my first and the last suggestion for this session. And I have no preferences. Umang, you can pick anyone, and I will start the interview session.
Okay, let me check. Let me check. Is there? I mean, has anyone given any interviews off campus for fp&a already? Okay, okay. ठीक है. I want 2-3 people to share your resume on the chat, right? Just share your resume. Alandil, can you share your resume on the chat? I want Lipika. Can you share your resume on the chat? And who else would like to give an interview? Rahul, can you please share your resume on the chat? Shreya, so what I'm doing is I'm just asking these people to share their resume on the chat. So once you go through these resume, it's up to you to pick one person. We want I mean, it's up to you to pick out of these 3-4 people. Just pick one person. Shivani, you can also share your resume on the chat. There are 4 people. ठीक है. I am also taking a look.
Just a second, I'm trying to download.
Yes, Ashi, please share your resume if you want to. ठीक है.
I'll come. Yeah. ठीक है. So I have opened this resume of Priyanka Kumari. So ठीक है.
Is her profile relevant? I mean, for this fp&a?
I'm
towards
just
FP&A.
checking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is one. ठीक है. I think it's relevant. We can do with her.
ठीक है. Let's start. Priyanka, are you there? Where is Priyanka? Yes, Priyanka. Great. Can you unmute yourself?
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to unmute myself.
Your voice is a bit low. Can you adjust your mic?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Now you're audible.
So everyone and Priyanka, like I'm assuming that you are interviewing for Zomato for the fp&a profile. So I will be able to place my questions in a better manner and maybe give you answers also in a better manner. So everyone just pay attention to the questions as I ask and keep making your notes. Towards the end of the session, we can have and ask me anything if we have sufficient time to do that. Okay.
Yes.
So Priyanka, welcome to Zomato. We see that you have done exceptionally in your career so far. So I just want to understand from you your journey so far in your career. Take me through your CV. Yes.
So hi everyone, I'm Priyanka, and so currently if I talk about, I'm working in Weebly. It is a CPA firm, and here I'm working as an audit analyst, and before that I was working with the KPMG as an article assistant for 3 years. I was particularly working in statutory audit department. In that I have worked with various clients. It is like with listed clients, unlisted clients, private limited, education. I have worked on various sectors, per se cinema, media, education sector, manufacturing industry, automobile industry. And my role was basically to, like, I have assisted the team in starting, but as I went through my articleship, I was experienced enough to lead the team and to handle areas starting from planning, documentation, and reporting, and everything. This is a brief summary about my work.
So, Umang, do you want me to give the feedback right after
बोला
every
क्या फिर
question,
इसमें?
No,
or
no, no, no. First, we'll take the
Like,
interview
सुबह
like
अच्छा
as
कुछ
it is,
जानी है.
like as it goes, and then afterwards we'll give the.
अरे
the
वो
feedback.
बेसिक बता दिया उसने, बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड पूछ.
See, I mean, let us be a bit cognizant of the fact that we are in a public forum, right? Let's be conscious if we have a background noise. Let's not. I mean, let's be conscious, right? I mean, yes, yeah, you can unmute. Let
Mm,
me just make you co-host, right? Just a minute.
no, it's all right. No worries.
ठीक है, ठीक है.
Yeah. So, Priyanka, that's awesome. Priyanka, as I understand that you want to work for Zomato. So, for example, we have a business segment where we supply groceries, fruits, and vegetables to the restaurants that are supplying further to the customers. So, so this role is for the B2B segment of Zomato.
Okay.
How do you think, like while preparing the monthly plan for Zomato, for this business of Zomato, where we will be selling to restaurants, what all will you keep in mind during the planning process?
In planning process, first of all, I'll try to recollect the data available from the past history I have, and I'll take a brief expectations about the growth in the market, and I have to in the planning stage I have to finalize the suppliers which I'll be choosing based on the price and quality also, and on time delivery also, so that I don't lose my customer just because of the timing issues. And it will be better if I can have a contract with the customers as well. So if all these information I have at planning stage, I'll be able to plan in a better way.
No, so give me more insights that how will you, so there are two aspects to the P&L, right? One is on the revenue side and one is on the cost side. So,
Right.
right? So how will you deal with both the aspects of planning?
Okay. First of all, for cost, I'll invite quotations from the suppliers who, and
So, okay, Priyanka, let me stop you because I will prefer to give you a brief understanding of the business, because then you will be able to think about this answer in a better manner. So, how we function is on the revenue side, we purchase from a number of merchants and then we sell it to our restaurants. Okay, so we purchase from maybe big wholesalers or B2B suppliers and ultimately sell it to the restaurant partners. So first the material comes from these vendors to our warehouses, where we have multiple costs like the fixed cost like rent and utilities, we have the manpower cost, we have the packaging consumables cost, and so on. And then from the warehouse, the order is placed by different restaurants and they ultimately send the goods from the warehouse to the restaurant partners. So we incur delivery cost also from the warehouse to the um, restaurant partners. So do you understand the business model, or should I elaborate more?
I think I got the brief idea.
Okay, so now you think about this in more detail and tell me how would you plan on the revenue as well as on the cost side.
Okay. Uh, for the transportation, so first of all, to finalize the product, first of all, I need to select vendors. And for vendors, I think we'll invite quotation and product quality, pricing, all these we'll see. And for transportation, as in startup, we will see if we can afford transportation on our own or we can outsource the transportation thing. So we will compare both the scenarios, which will be beneficial for the industry. For the organization, we'll choose that. And after then comes to warehouse. Then again warehouse, we have two choice whether to have our own warehouse or to outsource that also. So we'll choose the beneficial way. So like you want me to elaborate key on what basis we will choose the efficiency, or is it fine?
Okay, so what I understand is that you were saying from revenue perspective, we will select the suppliers and everything. And from the cost perspective, we will see whether it's a third party services we can take, or we can hire our own services.
Yeah, but the vendor part is also from the cost part now, because we are selecting vendors. That will be cost. We are not
Okay.
asking about.
Okay.
Yes, then from the revenue perspective, we can see what are who all are my regular customers. Do we have some agreement with them, regular agreement, or I think this much I'm able to say
Okay.
right now.
Okay. 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 So, Priyanka, how do you think that working so Zomato, though it's a 12-year-old company, but there are a number of processes and procedures or controls which you will find in maybe, so you have experience from BSR, right? You have worked
Right.
with BSR company, which is a big four. So you would see that in a big four, we have a number of controls and procedures and SOPs for our clients.
Right.
While that is missing in particularly in the startup world, so how do you ensure building those controls and fixing the issues that we face on day-to-day basis?
I think to establish any control, we should have that in written form first of all, and make it sure that every employee or everyone who is working in that organization is familiar with the controls, that these are the policies and you need to be aware of it and you have to follow it. First step is like making the controls and making aware others that it is in existence. And second thing, that regular checkup there should be there, that either they are following the policy or not. It's just not key that we will tell them policy, this is the policy, and they will follow. There has to be regular check, and whether the policy is being followed or not. And because this is a startup, they will come across new problems on the daily basis.
Okay. So Priyanka, just take an example of a process which you have reviewed in you have done P2P process, procure to payment, yes.
Yes.
So for example, what all checks will you ensure that should be there while you are building controls in Zomato or in this kind of business where there are no controls? We have no controls right from purchase to payment. Like this is an imaginary scenario which I am saying. So how will you what all checks will you ensure?
Okay, the first step is who has the authority to raise the request. And if the person is raising request, if like suppose he is raising request for grocery, some XYZ grocery, was there a need to order to raise the request for that grocery? What was the level of that store, that grocery, like that minimum level? When it hit the minimum level, the reorder should be done. So we can set up that reorder level, and we can authorize some person who is liable to order. That person should raise purchase requisition, and who is the person who will authorize the purchase order. And we can set the limit of amount, like if the purchase order is of up to this amount, this person is authorized, and above this amount the higher person is authorized to for is authorized to approve this PO. And after a PO is authorized, then there should be process for vendor selection, then to whom that purchase requisition to be sent to purchase. So for that, if this is a material amount, purchase quotations can be invited. And what is the process for selecting the vendor? After obtaining the quotations, analyze the quotation and select the best vendor. And after selection of vendor, send the purchase order, and receive the order, see the transportation expenses also, and then compare the purchase requisition with purchase order and with invoice and with GRN also. And then it should reconcile with the bank payment which is made. And
Okay.
then it comes to inventory record.
Understood. So my next question is that why do you think that you would be the right fit for this role?
I think I have a knowledge of processes of various industries, and I thrive myself to learn more and more about anything, and I having skeptic.
that why do you want to be a part of like this profile specifically? Like how do you match to this profile? Why not maybe a controllership profile, or why not an audit profile? Because you have done audit, yeah, like in your articleship. So why don't you want those profiles, but why do you want an FP&A profile? Why do you want this, and why would you be a right fit for the organization?
Okay. In my articleship experience, I have gained experience of finance, and I have analytical, I have ability to analyze data, financial data. So I think I'll be a right fit for this profile, having skeptic mind, having knowledge of financials and understanding of financials, numbers.
Okay, anything else?
I think I'm unable to say now.
No worries, it's okay. Okay. What is your understanding of FP&A profile? What does an FP&A person do? Like what are the key responsibility areas, or what do you understand about this job description has been shared with you, or what is your general understanding of the FP&A profile?
As far as I understand, FP&A profile is that person should be having ability to understand financials, and having critical mind who can analyze financial data, and it can take key decisions. Mm, this much I can think of right now.
Okay. Okay, so what do you think are your like if I tell you to do your, would have heard of the term SWOT analysis?
Yes.
Okay, so if I tell you to do a SWOT analysis of your personality.
So my strength will be so my strength will be like that I'm able to take challenges. That is my strength. And if I talk about weakness, uh, to be honest, I have many weaknesses, but sometimes I think I fail to work on my weaknesses, given that I know that these are the weaknesses. So, and threat and opportunities. mm, mm, Threat. Sometimes I fail to do multitasking. Like if it is 1, 2, 3, but if it is more than 3, then I think sometimes I fail to do multitasking up after a certain level. And opportunities. I'm willing to learn new things, and willing for any location. So I think this is the sort of answer.
Okay. So my next question is that like what do you feel that like how, if I give you to handle a team of 2 people, so what would your what would your key skills be while you are working with the team?
First will be leadership skills, and the second will that help me to deal with my team will be communication skill.
Okay. So during your articleship, you have done audit, right? So can you tell me how does an ideal audit, like if I want to audit maybe, which companies have you worked for? You have worked for media companies, right?
Yes, I have worked for
So
media.
how would you what does the statutory audit process of a media company look like? Like just give me the brief cycle.
Okay. First of all, to start with any client, we obtain the understanding of the client, about its history, about its present, and then after analyzing the industry, we do planning, like what are the resources we will require to plot, and the technical expertise of the resources to be required on this client. And after this, we'll go through pre-planning activities, like we have engagement letters, do we have signed documents of everything, and then we'll start with entity level control testing. After that, we'll go with the IFC, and after that, we'll go in detail substantive procedures. After substantive
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So like first we'll start with ELC, then we'll move to control testing, and after control testing, with the result of control testing, we'll move to substantive testing, and after that we'll move to complete documentation and reporting.
Understood. Sorry, I had just gone to get a glass of water.
That's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's perfect. Okay. So my next question is, and probably my last question for your session, that what is your expectation from the organization, and do you have any questions for us?
My expectation will be from any organization that I will be offered with continuous learning and continuous support from the team, and a happy environment where I can grow.
Okay. So if I give you a very happy and a very comfortable environment without any promotion, will you be fine?
No, I say both the thing. Like I said, it should be learning and where I can grow. My
Yes.
sentence ended with where I can grow.
Perfect. Okay. Great, Priyanka. You have been a real sport and you have really done well. I will start with my observations. So, Umang,
Hey, just a minute. So what we'll do before you give the feedback, right? What I'll do is I'll just ask everyone who has been here to write down some pointers on what they feel was good about the interview, what Priyanka did well, and the things that she could have improved, right? So at least you are conscious कि आपने सुना है, आपको पता है क्या क्या चीजें सही हैं, क्या क्या चीजें गलत हैं. But let's start with some applause for Priyanka, right? It takes
yes.
courage to to be grilled in public and be and agreeing to it. So it was a good session.
Thank you.
So take a couple of minutes, everyone. Take a minute or something. Just write down what you feel about the interview. People who are also connected with us on YouTube, do subscribe to the channel, like the video, and also write in the chat what you feel about the interview. Things that went right, things that could have been improved. I'm enabling the chat here. Okay. Good articles, big food, knowledge reflected. Okay. Technically not so strong, nervous with few questions. She was more comfortable in audit. Okay. Decent smile. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Many critics in the group.
Okay. ठीक है यार, good to know. Let's move on to feedback from our mentor. Shreya, over to you.
Yes. So Priyanka, really proud of you for taking this so sportingly and like coming forward and doing this, because in front of 200 people, you had the confidence to speak out your answers and explore what you know and what you can work on. So first, kudos to you. And for everyone else, I have written down a few points which I would want to mention. So this is what I mentioned in the beginning of the interview also and beginning of the session, that learn to sell yourself. As chartered accountants, you will have to market yourself in a way that हम सिर्फ पढ़ाई करके नहीं आए हैं. We are sound in all the areas of personality development as well. For example, when I asked you about your strengths or when I asked you about your SWOT analysis, you can't say that there are many weaknesses, but sometimes I do work on them and sometimes I don't. So this point that you give to your, that impression that you give to your interviewer, that बंदा ही खुद बोल रहा है कि मेरे पास तो बहुत weaknesses है. So it's a way of how you present yourself. We all have weaknesses. All 200 people sitting in this channel have weaknesses, but you have to present them that they are my areas of development. Like, for example, you shouldn't say to the interviewer that no, these are my weaknesses and I sometimes work and I sometimes don't work. You can simply say that I think my weaknesses are my potential areas of development and I'm already on it.
Yeah.
And when we are talking about strengths or we are talking about opportunities, all your answers have to be talking about yourself. When you're saying talking about your strengths, you should know, like, line by line, item by item, what are your strengths. Because you are telling, because see, when you come out as CA freshers in the market, people would want to know the maximum about your communication skills and maximum about how you interact, because everyone will learn on the job. But what will take you inside that profile will be your communication skills and how much you can market yourself. When you're talking about your strengths, you have to be very particular about what all do you want to talk. So you should have a clear bifurcation in your mind that many technical skills kya hai, which is maybe I know financial analysis, I know audit, I know risk evaluation, I know these are my technical skills, I know MS Office, I know these are my technical skills, I am good with data analysis. And what are my soft skills? Like I have team spirit, I have leadership skills, I'm a very adaptable person, like I can adjust to situations really well. So, and don't be very generic with your answers. See, everybody will say team player and leadership, but you will have to think that why are you a team player and leadership? Support it with experiences in your articleship period, how you have actually during your articleship period proved your strengths, right? So this is my first and very important suggestion to all of you, to be very, very cognizant of yourself. You have to know yourself very well without being very generic in your answers. See, Google and YouTube can help you with answers for interview preparation, but then everybody will be telling those answers. You will have to spend time with yourself to know your personality in entirety. That is my first suggestion, to be very cognizant and to structure, to know yourself in and out. First thing. Second thing is the structuring of your answers. All answers have to have a proper flow. So it has to be like a story. Like when you tell somebody a story, एक series of events होते हैं. ऐसा नहीं होता है कि आप मूवी भी देखते हो तो क्या होता है, पहले एक वो पूरा लेआउट बताते हैं, हाँ फिर ये हुआ, then the climax and then the end. So all your answers when you are speaking to your interviewer have to follow that flow. For example, when I asked you the case study question कि अगर आप इस वाले business में हो और इसका आपको planning और analysis करना है, आप कैसे करोगे? Nobody will know at first instance. मतलब किसी को नहीं पता होगा. मैं मुझसे कोई random business के बारे में पूछ लोगे, मैं भी तुरंत नहीं बता पाऊंगी. It's always better to ask time from your interviewer. Can I take a minute to answer this question? Can I think for a moment? Because that will help you to structure your thoughts in a well-defined manner and be very, you can then answer point point by point कि मेरे मन में क्या चल रहा था. This is what I could think of. Because if you tell me कि कल को cosmetics business में कैसे financial planning analysis होता है, तो I would be like, मैं क्या बोलूं financial planning क्या कैसा मतलब. So what I would do is firstly take 2 minutes from my interviewer. It will not harm my interview in any way. In fact, it will give an impression to the interviewer that she's thoughtful. She wants to understand the situation better and then come up with the solution instead of just jumping into that solution. Because guys, case studies and scenario analysis are very important when it comes to applying for a profile like financial planning and analysis, right? So structuring your answers, all your answers, right from be it the generic answers, why should we hire you, or why you would be a fit for this role, or the technical questions, like the work that you have done, statutory audit process, that would also flow like a story. Like first starting from audit engagement, signing or an audit engagement where we visit the previous year's papers. Then comes the audit planning process. Then we have a team deployment. Then we do internal control. Then we have test of controls, test of details, and then we have the final reporting or opinion expression of opinion. So this is how a statutory audit process looks like. So you should know the story in your mind. Every answer has to be a proper flow and a proper story. Any questions until now? I will go on with suggestions.
No, I'm like fine.
Yeah.
You can go on.
Ank, you have a question? Okay. The third very important point, guys, if you're applying for a profile like a financial planning and analysis, and for that matter any profile in this world, you need to be thorough with the job description. Like, if you do not know what you want to work for, that means you are just applying it ऐसे, मतलब मुझे पता ही नहीं है कि what I want to work for. You have to have an understanding कि financial planning and analysis क्या होता है, and not just one liners कि financial planning means planning the procedures and doing the month on month planning. The answer has to be structured. Again, so structuring is common to all the answers. It is not limited to one answer. It is a comprehensive thing. It has to be a part of all the answers. Now, when I'm talking about financial planning analysis, you need to know. So planning and analysis basically means you will be doing the month-on-month planning, preparation of annual operating plans, doing variance analysis, plan versus actuals, working on areas where you can maximize the revenue for the organization and work on and identify areas where we can do cost optimization. Third would be where we can do which part of the business can be outsourced, or like doing the project evaluations. Basically, something can be bought or it can be rented. Those kinds of analysis. So financial planning and analysis is a very diverse profile. You have to have some understanding in the business that what is it, what it is exactly, right? And so I've mentioned about structure. I've mentioned about asking for time from your interviewer if you want to think about a question. Third is the job description that you should be thorough with. Very confident about your strengths and weaknesses, and also what do you think are the areas you would want to work on. And the most important point, learn to sell yourself. I think these would be the 5 key takeaways from today's session. And this is the most important point. So see, you have to be thorough with your resume. That everybody should be. You should know your work experience, job experience very well. But what you should know more, that what is the company you are applying for and what is the profile you are applying for. That is very important, right? So yes, now any questions?
Thank you, Shreya.
If we have any questions, you can put in the chat. Can freshers get FP&A job? I think we have an example here.
I was a CA fresher only when I got this FP&A job, and I was from statutory audit profile. So nothing like that you can't get a fp&a profile. You just need to be very understanding of like cognizant of the fact why do you want this job. No, it was not off campus, it was on campus. So Shivam is my friend, we got hired for the same job in the same campus. Your organization hiring CA for which profiles? I won't reveal. Can you give good examples for weaknesses? Okay, so this is a good question. So weaknesses are always to be proved, like कि भाई ऐसी कोई weakness तो नहीं है, मतलब ठीक है काम कर लेगी. Like I'm very curious to know. Sometimes curiosity becomes difficult because you have to like I'm very curious to know about all kinds of roles that are within the organization, but because of the limited availability of time and because I have to focus on my areas, I'm not able to know about everything. So sometimes that curiosity is good, but sometimes it impacts me as well. Give good examples of opportunities and threats. Let me just go through the thread. Was these difference between financial modeling and fp&a? Financial modeling is not a profile. Financial modeling is a skill. Financial modeling is something which you apply in the financial planning and analysis role. You make different kinds of business models and you prepare workings, basically how you can analyze things in a better way. So you use various tools for financial modeling. Power BI is also one example for that. So financial modeling is more like a skill or a tool, and fp&a is more like a role. It's a profile.
For people who have their videos switched on, if you have any questions, let's give priority to them, and then let's move on to people, rest of them. If anybody of you have any doubts who have switched on their videos, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yes, that would be better. I agree. Instead of going to the chat. Yes, Shivangi, go ahead.
Yeah, hi Shreya. You did ask one question regarding the B2B planning process where you explained how Zomato procures and then sells it to your restaurant partners, right? And then you asked what should we keep in mind while planning this process. So analyze both from revenue side, cost side. So what should have been the ideal answer to this question? Instead of like, we would be able to analyze the process, but if you could, give a specific input.
So I will not answer from the understanding I have, because my understanding is biased, because I already have an understanding of the business. If I were in your position, so firstly, any P&L for that matter has two components, revenue and cost. So your first direction of thinking should be in this way, that how will I plan for the revenue and how will I plan for the cost. For example, when Priyanka was answering, she did not bifurcate her answer into these two components. She just started that I will analyze the suppliers and from whom we are procuring. So firstly, just think in that direction कि तुम्हारे सामने P&L खुला हुआ है किसी भी कंपनी का, तो तुम कैसे देखते हो. Planning and analysis component wise होती है हर P&L की, right? So there are revenue and then there is cost. Revenue में आप सोचो कि एक कंपनी जो कि वेंडर्स से परचेज कर रही है और रेस्टोरेंट्स को सेल कर रही है, तो आपको देखना पड़ेगा कि what are the different categories that we are selling in Zomato, right? हम कौन सी कैटेगरीज में हैं. हम ग्रोसरी सेल करते हैं, हम फ्रूट्स एंड वेजिटेबल्स सेल करते हैं, हम बेकरी प्रोडक्ट सेल करते हैं. Then you will sit with business stakeholders, right? So now you have to highlight your skills here. कि see, finance का part क्या होता है, FP&A क्या करता है, they coordinate with number of business stakeholders and get inputs from them and then do the planning and analysis. Then you will mention कि I will go to the business teams, discuss the numbers with them, understand what would be the growth that they are projecting in this month. Also, what is the kind of products or the mix of products that they want to sell in this month, because that will impact my revenue. What is the margin or the gross margin that they would want to earn on these products, because ultimately that will impact my revenue, right? What are the new projects or initiatives that they are taking during this quarter or during this month to enhance their sales? So this will be the flow. And then you can also mention about that I will be comparing this revenue with the previous month's revenue, or this month's revenue with the similar revenue of this month in the last year. So this will help me analyze the revenue part in a good way. Then coming to the cost side, then you will mention about how will the fixed cost, the rent of the warehouse, the electricity cost will remain fixed, but what will change is the delivery cost. जितना मेरा volume of business बढ़ेगा, उसी according I will see कि how will my last mile or my delivery cost increase, how much more manpower I will need in the warehouse. So that's why I'm saying कि you will have to go and take 2 minutes from your interviewer for sure in such questions. Like take that time to think कि just open that कि ये मेरा P&L है. अब मैं एक बिजनेस ऐसा है, मैं कॉस्मेटिक्स भी सोचती हूँ, चलो मैं अपने एग्जांपल से लेती हूँ, कॉस्मेटिक्स बिजनेस है, तो कॉस्मेटिक्स में मैं क्या क्या कर सकती हूँ, मैं कौन कौन से प्रोडक्ट्स बेच रही हूँ, कौन से प्रोडक्ट्स में मैं ज्यादा मार्जिन कमा सकती हूँ, उनको मैं कैसे बेच सकती हूँ, मेरे क्या कॉस्ट है, मैं कैसी मेरी सप्लाई चेन काम करती है, तो उस हिसाब से मैं प्लानिंग करूँ. राइट शिवानी, डज दैट आंसर योर क्वेश्चन?
Great.
Thanks so much.
Great. Next we have Paras, but before that, we'll also take a couple of questions from YouTube. So people who are connected, please put your questions in the chat. I'll pick it up from there. Yes, Paras, please go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. The session was really insightful.
That's a pleasure. Yes.
Ma'am, my question was partly answered, but still I want to ask that. So, ma'am, how can we structure our thoughts so that what usually happens with me that I take a lot of time and structure my thoughts? How can I reduce it, or any method or any application that I should do?
So a very simple, I don't want to sound philosophical, but this is what works. So in Bhagavad Gita, it said that the more you practice, the better you become, right? So for generic questions, at least, like strengths क्या हैं, weaknesses क्या हैं, job description, ये प्रोफाइल क्यों पसंद है, इनके बारे में तो आप सोच सकते हो पहले से. आपको इनके बारे में अपने थॉट्स आप बहुत अच्छे से स्ट्रक्चर कर सकते हो इफ यू थिंक अबाउट देम डेली. थिंक मैं रोज इसमें क्या रिफाइन कर सकता हूँ, एंड लिंक इट विद योर पर्सनैलिटी. डोंट कॉपी योर आंसर्स फ्रॉम एनीवेयर. that will not give you that will not show you as somebody exceptional. Always think about your answers and then put it. Like अगर आपकी strengths क्या है, like मैं अपनी strengths बताऊंगी जाके, तो मैं सोचूंगी कि मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ. मेरा strength है stakeholder management. I work really well with the business teams. I work really well with the technology team in my company. So I'm very good with stakeholder management. I can get tasks done in a better way in the business. So this is my strength, right? So you will have to think about them and like think very thorough through them. Then only you can get an answer. The answer I will give you right now will be very biased towards me. But what I would just say is that just think about those things, write them down, and like just keep thinking. You will not get all answers at once, but spend couple of hours every day to align your thoughts. Does that work, or should I be?
I understood. Practice and writing.
Yeah, practice and write these. And like, one more thing. Associate when you talk about your strengths or when you talk about your answers, always support them with real life examples, because that will just show that you are not ऐसे ही नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, मुझे पता है ये चीज तभी मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ because I have lived this. Right? If you want to show adaptability, like I tell them, I have told multiple people in the mock interviews I have taken, आपको बताना है कि आप बहुत adaptable person हो. आप बताओ कि यार मेरे CA finals में मेरे coaching sessions और मेरी audit deadlines हमेशा clash करती थी, but I was so passionate about both the things that I would adapt myself to the working schedule and accordingly manage. This is because you can say this because you have worked like that. You will just go on the net, you will find very generic answers.
And it even seems more logical when you say so.
Okay, great. Next question.
Somebody from YouTube, I mean, a lot of questions are asking, what are some skills required to get into fp&a profile?
Guys, I would say that firstly, as a CA fresher, you should be very understanding of the fact that why you want this profile, right? I think that is the fp&a sounds very liquid, lucrative to everyone. Even when we went to Udan, everybody. So in Udan, I did not start as a fp&a professional. I started as a credit analyst, and I then moved to the fp&a profile, right? But I would tell you that we were a batch of 14 15 hirees, and everyone was anxious ki yaar bas FP, because we were not told about our job roles before, like after joining also. It was to happen after the induction. So सबको बस FP&A चाहिए था. It is very lucrative, it is very glamorous, but you need to be clear. I wasn't clear, so I was okay with getting a credit analyst profile also. But eventually when I realized that why I want this, then I moved into that profile. Then the key skills I would say is business acumen. तुम्हें business समझ में आता है कि मतलब क्या मूवमेंट हो रहा है, कैसे प्रोसेसेस होते हैं या क्या कंट्रोल्स होते हैं. तो FP&A is all about, it is definitely about planning, analysis, then all the SOPs and controls that could be a part of the business, and all the optimizations that you can do in a business, right? So firstly, have that business acumen. Think about scenarios in your mind that if I were to plan this, how would you do that? A very something you could say in your interview is that I think I'm a very good FP&A professional because managing 8 exams in 12 days of CA final examinations definitely requires FP&A. How would you plan your time schedule and complete all the chapters if you did not have those skills, right? So you have to support yourself, need to ask yourself why you want to do this profile. And definitely फिर जो normal answers होते हैं कि हाँ मुझे फाइनेंशियल मॉडलिंग आती है, मैं बिजनेस को सोच सकता हूँ कि कैसे फॉर्म करना है, या फिर मुझे रिस्क के बारे में, आई कैन आइडेंटिफाई द रिस्क एंड द लूप होल्स इन प्रोसेसेस एंड देन अकॉर्डिंगली एनालाइज एंड प्रेजेंट इट टू बिजनेस. देन मुझे स्टेक होल्डर मैनेजमेंट आता है, देन मुझे of course analysis and cost optimizations and revenue maximization आता है. तो these are the skills for FP&A. Next question.
Shreya, can you just give a brief example of the problem statements that you solve or have you solved in your past or current organizations?
Okay, so there are so many problem statements. Okay,
yeah.
Now so I was telling you about this business where we purchase from restaurants and then sell it to the we purchase from vendors and sell it to restaurants. So a number of times now we have deployed certain manpower in our warehouse. Now that manpower, अब ये लोग बिल्कुल देसी बंदे होते हैं, बिल्कुल जिनको महीने की 20,000 पगार मिलती है. अब वो क्या काम कर रहे हैं, वो गेम खेल रहा है वेयर हाउस में बैठ के, आपको नहीं पता है वो क्या कर रहा है. उसका काम है कि उसको लाइन, जैसे वेयर हाउस में शेल्व्स होती हैं, यू हैव टू पिक आउट लाइन आइटम्स एंड पुट इट इन अ, जो डिलीवरी के लिए बास्केट्स होती है उसमें डालना होता है. इसका सिर्फ सिंपल सा ये काम होता है. Now you don't know if he's doing the right job or if he's like doing it correctly. So we worked with our tech team to get it into the system where every picker or will have to log in the system and will have to see that will have to just like mark his attendance that I have entered the system, and now and every item he will have to scan before he basically like he will have to scan the number of line items he picks in a particular minute or in a particular second. So now we have the entire trajectory कि वो कितने बजे in करता है, कितने बजे out करता है, and the number of line items he picks. तो ये एक problem statement है कि हमने इसको कैसे solve किया कि through an automation or through firstly we identified the problem कि क्या problem है, and then we work for its automation, right? Second problem is stakeholder management एक issue आता है. For example, as business professional आपको लगता है कि यार हमें ये कैटेगरी ज्यादा बेचनी चाहिए, मेरी यहाँ पे मार्जिन ज्यादा है, बट बिजनेस में भी किसी क्लाइंट को फेवर करने के लिए या उसको लगता है कि नहीं यार इस क्लाइंट से मुझे ज्यादा बेनिफिट मिलेगा, तो वो उसको फेवर करते हैं. तो showing that lens to business people कि नहीं यार ये आप गलत डिसीजन ले रहे हो. It comes with a lot of resistance from business stakeholders. So you have to be very strong with your opinions and very strong with your answers when you are answering such questions, right? So this is one problem. And then day to day, you will have to. So there are number of other problem statements also, which are more relevant to business, which I'll not be able to disclose here because of course because of confidentiality things. But stakeholder management is one. Then you have a number of projects that you have to evaluate. For example, business wants to incur some amount of capex in a particular thing. They want to purchase a new warehouse. Now you will have to question them that why do you want to do this? Can't we expand our existing warehouses and existing capacities instead of purchasing a new warehouse? So I think these are the kind of problem statements which I face from day to day.
Great, wonderful. It's good to hear, yeah. I mean, only when you hear these practical examples will you know what you'll be doing after you join. Great. Next question, Tushar. Please unmute yourself and go ahead with your question.
Ma'am, as you were saying about the problem statements, and the fp&a profile also requires our problem solving skills. So, sir, ma'am, how we can like improve our problem solving by practicing case studies? So, from where we can practice case studies, how we can like evolve our business acumen, as you have said right now. How to like?
So I think reading definitely helps understanding businesses, like going through these resources over internet, like how a particular business, like how does that. So especially if you're interested in startups or maybe the e-commerce companies, they have a number of case studies on how their supply chain works. You can just go through them. Also, I think reading financials of a company gives you a lot of perspective on the financial planning analysis aspect. So in Udaan, when we were joining Udaan, we all, in fact, Shivam was the first person who brought a copy of the profit and loss statement with him. So he gave it to all of us, and we just understood कि अच्छा क्या components होते हैं, कैसा क्या move करता है. So that was actually a very good insight that कि एक P&L you are joining a company, you should know them in and out. कि करती क्या है, क्या इसकी top basic understanding की top line क्या है, क्या cost components रहते हैं. So that will give you an understanding. So what I would say is that reading case studies, reading financial reports will really help you in this direction. And I think keep on discussing this with your like join networks, which will help you like get this knowledge, because reading becomes very monotonous. But when you have a circle of 5-6 people who discuss this on a daily basis, it becomes very very interesting and competitive also.
So I think a lot of this also involves critical thinking, right? I mean, these are very logical things, right? But when your mind is not prepared for such scenarios, you fail, right? Just for example, if I were to ask you, where do you stay, Tushar? Where do you stay?
I'm from Asansol near Kolkata.
Okay, Asansol. Does Asansol have a Domino's?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it has a Domino's. ठीक है. If I were to ask you कि भाई मुझे एक और Domino's का वहाँ पे शोरूम ये डालना है, आउटलेट डालना है, तो आप बताओ मुझे डालना चाहिए कि नहीं डालना चाहिए. These are some basic real life cases जिससे आपकी critical thinking improve होगी. मैं आपसे पूछूंगा भाई आसनसोल में मेरे को एक लेंस कार्ड का शोरूम खोलना है, तो आप मुझे बताओ कि मुझे खोलना चाहिए कि नहीं खोलना चाहिए. एंड इसको सिंपल आप इफ यू स्लीप ओवर इट, आपकी क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग इससे बहुत ज्यादा इंप्रूव होगी, ऐसा मुझे लगता है.
So these random guesstimates like you made, जैसे आप आसनसोल से हो, तो thinking कि यार कितनी population होगी आसनसोल में, कितने लोग ऐसे होंगे जो उस segment में होंगे जो पिज्जा पसंद करते होंगे या फिर जिनको वो पसंद होगा. Then आप किस area में उसको set करोगे, उससे भी depend करेगा कि कितने customers आप attract कर पाओगे. So you will have to think through all of these things. Now I was able to answer this because I have faced this question. Earlier, I also used to feel very dumb कि यार मेरे को आती ही नहीं है कुछ. But you will have to think such scenarios in your mind and do guesstimates, do case studies. Then only you will be able to develop that acumen. Yes.
ठीक है. Next question, Dheeraj.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes.
Ma'am, so I wanted to ask, like, in FP&A role, how does a typical day look like apart from reporting work and the variance analysis, which I know about FP&A? And another question I would like to ask is CFA an add-on for this role? Would I be able to capitalize my knowledge which I have pursued through CFA? If you would help me out in that.
Okay. So firstly, and to answer your question about FP&A profile, the ideal day, so we will split this into two parts. One is called BAU, which is business as usual, which is the regular work, which is preparing your plans, variance analysis, and all of those comparisons month on month, quarter on quarter. This is the regular work, right? The second part is where you do very constructive analysis and give insights to your business partners, right? कि यार वो अपना business, क्योंकि जब आप ऐसा सोचो, जो एक सेल्स वाला बंदा होता है, वो उसके पास टारगेट होता है कि यार मेरे को ना इतनी सेल करनी है इस महीने। उसको नहीं पता कि इस सेल से मेरे बिजनेस को फायदा हो रहा है, हम एबिटा लेवल पे क्या कर रहे हैं इस सेल से, उसको नहीं, इतना इंसाइट नहीं होता है। लाइक एफपीएनए प्रोफेशनल की ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है टू गिव दैट विजिबिलिटी टू टू द बिजनेस कि यार आप ये बेचोगे तो ये आउटकम होगा, आप यहाँ पे अपना कॉस्ट सेव कर सकते हो, आप ये जो प्रमोशन की स्कीम चला रहे हो इससे कोई फायदा नहीं हो रहा है, बिकॉज जितना आप कमा रहे हो उससे ज्यादा हम लोग बर्न कर रहे हैं। तो ऐसे जैसे कि अगर वो बोलते हैं कि यार इस कस्टमर को मैं डिस्काउंट दे रहा है, यू वुड हैव टू इवेल्युएट कि यार इसको ये डिस्काउंट देके मेरे को फायदा क्या हो रहा है। तो दिस इज लाइक मर्चेंट लेवल एनालिसिस आप करोगे, या फिर आप कस्टमर लेवल एनालिसिस,
cost benefit analysis which can do.
कॉस्ट बेनिफिट एनालिसिस करोगे, कस्टमर लेवल एनालिसिस करोगे, कैटेगरी का पूरा एनालिसिस करोगे कि यार मैं क्या बेचूं जिससे मैं प्रॉफिटेबल हो जाऊं।
Okay, got it.
All of these different kinds of analysis.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Great. We'll take two final questions, Rohit, and then after you, Ritik.
Yes, Rohit.
Rohit, you're on mute. Please unmute yourself.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're
Yes.
audible.
Yeah. So my question is regarding like there is a division in FP&A as well, like the team which is going to look into only the project analysis and cost benefit analysis, or it's like each and every person is going to be involved in
Okay.
all the
Good
tasks of
question.
it.
Good question. So it depends on the size of the business also to a large extent. For example, if in established corporates like HUL and ITC, they would have FP&A for different, like each component of the P&L for that matter. They will have a separate person for a revenue FP&A, and revenue में भी sales कोई और देख रहा होगा, discounts कोई और देख रहा होगा, advertisements से जो revenue आ रही है वो कोई और देख रहा होगा, cost में भी वो अलग अलग एक component दिख रहा होगा। But जब आप स्टार्टअप्स या फिर एक स्मॉल स्केल कंपनी ज्वाइन करते हो, तो एक एडवांटेज ये भी होता है कि यू गेट टू सी द एंटायर P&L एंड हैंडल द एंड टू एंड, लाइक टेक एंड टू एंड ओनरशिप. So what I would say is that these roles are very company specific and also depend on the volume of business. So that's more like it. It's not specific that ये FP&A है तो यहाँ पे अलग अलग होगा या यहाँ पे same होगा. It is very company specific. But what I have seen in the two startups I have worked with, depending कि कौन से आप business में हो, अगर आपका business बहुत high scale वाला business है, then you will have different teams for different functions of the P&L. But if the scale is small, then there would be one or two people handling the end-to-end P&L in their own.
And like, what is the process of submitting application in your organization? Because everyone is
That you
not
have to figure
eligible
out
for
yourself.
application.
That you have to figure out
No, no.
yourself. That's a part of the application process.
No, actually, they don't
Just kidding.
hire directly from their websites or LinkedIn.
Yeah, they only do through referrals. So yes, we can check that.
Can you emphasize more on for which profiles you are hiring right now? Like specifically related
So what I
to
have
chartered
heard is
accountants?
that basically, I'm not very sure on that, but there are certain positions which are across, like they do multiple businesses. They have online ordering business, which is a regular Zomato business, and this is the hyperpure business, which I was talking about. Then we have third क्या है? Third is the dine out business जो उनका है. Then they are feeding India. Then they have Blinkit business also. So they're hiring across all positions. There is no specific.
No,
Yeah, go ahead.
my question was regarding domain like FP&A, controllerships,
I will
journalists.
have to check. I am not very sure on that. I will have to check that.
Okay.
But it should be mostly, what I understand should be mostly in business finance and FP&A only.
Okay, understood.
Great. Ritik, one last question for the day. Ritik.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
you
Ritik,
are.
you're audible.
Yes. My question was about apart from the practical knowledge and the case studies and the business knowledges, are we required to carry the bookish knowledge with us? That we have.
You are required to know how to present the bookish knowledge or the practical experience. That's it. So if you have studied audit, and if you just call it vouching and verification in your interview experience, interview process, that would be a suboptimal answer. Optimal answer is how you relate what you have done with what you have studied. So, for example, the better words for putting verification vouching is test of controls, substantive procedures, audit planning, audit opinion. So you will have to use bookish knowledge way which can substantiate your articleship experience in a good way.
Actually, ma'am, I was only applying for the investment banking profile, including merger and acquisition and the several companies. So I'm thinking about the what bookish knowledge that I've already passed through.
You should know. See, if you are applying for M&A profiles, you should be convenient with the accounting compliances and all the profile evaluations that are done in a merger and acquisition. Like you should, before going for an interview, at least read what are the headlines, what happens in a merger and acquisition process. You should be aware of that, so that will give you a structure to your answer. Bookish knowledge utni aani chahiye ki you should know ki kya hota hai. You don't have to be like word to word fully exact, but you should know the highlights of the profile that you are doing.
Okay.
Great. It was a wonderful session. And thank you all for joining. Let's put a round of applause for our mentor, Shreya. Once again, right, out of her busy schedule. And again, she has to go back to preparing some reports, right? Let's give her some warm gratitude, right? Thank you, Shreya, for joining. Thank you, all the people who've joined from YouTube as well. We
Thank you,
keep on
Shreya.
conducting sessions like these. If you feel that the session today was helpful, to share it with your friends. Do share about CA Monk with friends. You can connect with Shreya on her LinkedIn profile as well. And we'll definitely be very delighted to host you again, Shreya, for upcoming more such sessions.
Would be
If you have
my
any
pleasure.
yeah, if you have any recommendations on what all sessions do you want us to conduct in future, you can please put it in the chat here, and for people on YouTube, you can put in the chat on YouTube as well. We've conducted for statutory audit already. We've conducted for finance. We've conducted for FP&A. There is one we'll conduct for taxation and one for internal audit as well. Apart from that, if you want any other sessions, you can put in the chat. I've opened the chat. If there are any things, we'll pick it up from here. If the sessions are relevant for larger audience, we'll definitely do those sessions also. ठीक है. FDD equity manager trainee valuation. Okay. ठीक है. Great. Sessions around these we'll plan. We'll try to plan. Anyways, great. Thanks a lot for joining. As I've always said, right, there is nothing called as being over prepared for an interview, right? You can never be over prepared for an interview. So keep on researching. If you are good at communications, brush up your technicals. If you are good at technicals, brush up your communication skills, soft skills. If you're good at both, start researching about the company's domain that you want to work into, right? Because you can't be complacent about anything. You have to go all in, right? There is no if or else or if or but, right? I mean, you have to do everything. So on that note, just one final thing for people who are very serious about interview preparation. There's an upcoming GR batch which is starting on 6th. That is one investment that can give you multiple results for sure, and it's going to be a life-changing experience. On that note, thank you all for joining. Do stay tuned for upcoming sessions that we have. We have multiple sessions coming up. We have a session tomorrow, day after tomorrow. We have continuous back-to-back sessions. Stay tuned. Take care and bye-bye. Thank you again, Shreya, for joining.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Thanks.
All the
Bye. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Bye. Thank you.